Welcome to another Fireside Chat today. We are here with Col Walton from the 52nd Maintenance Squadron here at Spangolum.
Absolutely. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Chiefs Room of our Pittsburgher ALS Heritage Hall.
Yes, it's beautiful. If you get the chance to come out here, highly recommend taking a tour. There's so much. I couldn't believe how much you guys have here.
Spangolum is a very special place. There is a lot to see and do. Within 4 hours, we can be in 6 different countries. Not only that, but the base itself is amazing. We're nestled in the Eifel region of Germany, which has trees and rolling hills. We're on a plateau. The views for days, and it's such a great place to be.
It's amazing. I wish I could stay longer than we are staying this week.
You guys are welcome out at any time.
Definitely will be coming back.
Perfect.
So, a little background on Col Walton. You've served about 20 years now.
Coming up on May.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And you've been all around the world, multiple platforms. I saw C-17s, 135s, 15s, and now 16s.
So yeah, I started on 16s back at Massawa. Then I went to Osan, stayed 16s, went to Lake and Heath, spent some time on the 15s. Then I went to our TC land at Maxwell, got to learn how to be an inspector there, which was really cool. Kind of put me in obviously already as a maintainer, we think in black and white, but getting to actually inspect and see how to help people make programs better was great. Then I got my first taste of AMC at Elmendorf, and then left Elmendorf in the en route and went to Air Mobility Command, which I spent a lot of time in policy doing the inspections. And I ended that time as a Chief of Strategy and Innovation for the AMC A4.
That is amazing. And I see the ties of innovation. Okay, so we're going to get more into that.
Absolutely.
So how was it working at Stott as the innovation?
Scott's beautiful. So having amazing bosses that trusted us to really amplify the voice of the floor. So one of the things that Ms. Method at the time and General Gibbs were looking to do was figure out how we connect our voice, because a lot of times when you look at big Air Force, the operative community, the futures-facing community, they get a big city at the table. And what we really wanted was for A4 to be heard and understood. And when we have such disparate organizations in the A4, it's really easy for our silos to not be heard. But when you connect our voices, and we realize that not only in the silos do we have similar shared needs, but we start getting people to talk for us when we're not in the room. That was one of the big things that Miss Method wanted to have happen. Was there's a lot in the logistics portfolio that matters, in the A4 portfolio that matters. How do we get people to talk about us even when we're not there? Because our priorities should be their priorities, because logistics win wars.
Yes, as they do. How do you think your time shaped there at the A4 shaped you as a leader?
So making my own position, getting to work with companies like Gardner, and understanding the ties between maintenance, logistics, civil engineering, force protection, seeing the portfolio of activity that was going on there, and then the opportunity to amplify voices. I realized that that's a unique niche that I have with an ever-expanding network through LinkedIn. It was fun to be trusted to provide tools and techniques and procedures to my floor mates so that they can solve problems, because I've learned over time, over a 20-year career, of how to get some of my ideas through the ecosystem. What I've learned is that I'm no longer the good idea fairy. I have good idea fairies everywhere, and we need to do a better job at hearing them, because the future fight will not be won the way we've always done business. So how we've gotten to where we're at, we're incredibly successful, but in order to continue to be the champion, you've got to evolve your game, and that's a lot of what I spent time studying and helping my peers and my teammates understand how to do as well. So when we talk about accelerate change, when we talk about great power competition, it's going to be won not with the shiny toy. It's going to be won with the minds of our airmen, NCO, senior NCO, and our officer corps. And we have to help people find their path in this very nebulous innovation ecosystem. One little side story. One thing that I've come to understand about the space of innovation is it's a door on this great big wall that everybody has access to, right? You hear the word innovation, we talk about innovation, and everybody sees the door. And then when you open that door, it's a cacophony of spider webs.
Yes.
So there are so many webs, and it's so confusing, and it's dark, and it's scary, and it's lonely. And in order to get anything done, we have to figure out which web to pull on to get the spider to care about the thing that we care about. And I find, as a shepherd of innovation, that we need to help people find their way through that path, through that space. And that's what I spent a lot of time at Scott refining, and it's helped shape me as a squadron commander. Because again, as a squadron commander, if I'm out there turning wrenches, doing safety wire, and trying to actually execute the mission, we're probably in a bad place as an Air Force. You don't need pulling out engines, and you don't need fixing rails. What you need from me as your commander is somebody that will deeply care about our airmen and realize that the people are the mission. And so if we can elevate their voice, if we can hear about what they care about, if we bring value to them, then we don't have a recruiting or retention problem. We have people that actually feel like they're where they want to be, and they understand that the drawer full of good ideas that they've had shoved, closed, locked, bolted because we don't have time for that. There's not money for that. We don't have the energy for that. Any other excuse that we've given to tell people that their idea isn't it's not the right thing at the right time. We need to unlock all of those doors because, again, those ideas are what drive our ability to win the future.
That focus to the airmen, developing them.
It's all about them.
Yeah. So we've seen that you have taken your mindset at your time at A4, at Scott, and coming here to Spang, and you can see it in Spangdahlem and how they've epitomized the excellence in driving the change. And the mindset here is phenomenal.
It's an unbelievable place to work. So none of the credit will ever go to me for the way Spangdahlem is, but to walk into an organization that cares about the voice of airmen, that was already a back-to-back Spark Tank winner at the Air Force level, and to be able to continue to inspire them to be a 4-time back-to-back Spark Tank winner. This past year, they're an Ether Sprint winner. The ideas that are coming up, at no point does any of it have anything to do with Kevin. It has everything to do with the energy and power of our leaders. So our wing commanders here, our group commanders, our chiefs, everybody has this mindset of making this entity more effective, more efficient, and ultimately more lethal. Because at the end of the day, we're in the profession of arms. And when you get into an ecosystem that cares and fosters that kind of power, what you see is airmen that genuinely deeply care about what they're doing. And so you get things like the Viper kit. You get things like the arc water, which is incredible in and of itself. And then we find ways to take arc water and continue making it better. I'm about to have a covered MAC pad, munitions assembly conveyor pad that is going to be covered, because right now all of my ammo troops, we just got done with AFCO Comp. They were out there in the cold, in the rain, in the hail, and they were building bombs, and they did it faster. And in fact, I'm looking forward to see how they compete this year. But if we can cover that, it's one thing. What if I told you we're putting a solar fabric on top of it that makes it an autonomous, off-the-grid operating location? It is so cool. And that's how you take this innovative mindset, and we continue to parlay into things like our project weapon, which is going to take away an entire pallet position's worth of equipment to be able to do weapons, weapons troubleshooting in an agile environment. And every pallet position matters. Every bit of space matters in that space. And then you look at the weapons pylon test stand, where we've taken pain out of the backs and legs of our airmen to be able to make it where it's a single person activity to lift and move pylons to be able to do the maintenance that they need to do. And then you look at something as small as building a comm box that takes out distortion and makes training more effective. And you take that 4-way comm box and you allow an airman innovator to go through things like Project Arc and build a 12-way comm box that is now not just multi-capable, but it's multi-MDS capable, where anybody can go into location X and have that comm box ready for them to use. It is unbelievable what is possible when we're able to just get out of the way of our airmen and listen and empower them, resource them,
Connect them with resources
like Tesseract. And, absolutely. And you guys are here. We're doing a build your own adventure opportunity, which as soon as I heard about it being a thing, I was already a big fan. I've been a fan since Garrett and Kelsey started this, and General Hurry, the work that's gone in from 2 captains turned major into what is now a global enterprise of liaison officers, to the work that you guys are doing in the Pentagon, to coming out here to us and teaching us theories of constraint and giving us actual working methodologies of taking things like the 52nd Fighter Wing Support Plan and turning it from this concept that Colonel Crofton wants to inspire folks to have a vehicle of change and prioritization of resources into actual executing and tackling problems through design thinking and Scrum methodologies. It's so cool. That room that we have right upstairs with the innovators and the minds that are really getting after what we need is unbelievable.
It's been amazing to watch them go through the process and just how quickly they're picking it up and executing it there at the table. I'm really excited to do a follow-up and find out how it goes after this week.
Absolutely.
That'll be great.
I'm excited for the follow-up, but I'm also excited to pull you guys with me as we transition over to my next assignment. So I'm changing command. This has been a 3-year tour. You mentioned 20 years of service. You mentioned getting promoted. I have been absolutely blessed to be where I'm at. And this summer I get to take everything here. I will reluctantly turn over the guidon to a good friend. Blake Hedgepeth is going to be coming in, but then he's going to continue the greatness that we've seen here. He's an innovator of his own right. But then I'm going to head over to Osan, working in 7th Air Force as the Director of Aircraft Maintenance. And I'm excited to join that team. Matthew Conley is already over there doing innovation at scale, and there's such an welcoming ecosystem from the wing commander to the deputy to everybody. It's a churn over there, but my biggest goal as I get to spend 2 years there is to continue the great work that a tech sergeant really got off the ground. And that tech sergeant, Matthew Conley, has re-energized the pen in a way that I don't think I've seen in a long time. And it's so heartwarming to see leaders trust our junior enlisted to create this continued current of helping people find their voice.
That's something that I think it's unique to the United States, right? We put so much faith into our NCOs and our airmen to make things better. And they're the ones that are on the ground. They're the ones that are doing it.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing to see this. You're going into PACAF. So you're going to have a lot of different challenges coming up, I understand. But while you were here at USAFE, how was it in a joint environment and working with your NATO partners in the innovation realm?
So I got to tell you, the amount of success that we've seen with regards to not just helping amplify the voice of so many different nations, but being good partners with them, being able to go through exercises. NATO, the alliance is strong, and our partners are hungry for not just their own innovation processes, but for cross-sharing their wins and our wins. And so our innovation team has gone to places like Portugal. We've gone to places like Poland, and we've seen the great work that they've got going on. We've been up to England and seen some virtual reality technology that really will change the way we do TCCC, the way we do training for medics. And it's awesome that they have this clear win that we can just adopt. And then you go to places like Portugal and you see the laser FOD detection system that they have employed, and you're just like, man, that's really cool. So it's not just about sharing what the U.S. has been really good at. It's about finding the pockets of excellence out in our NATO allies and bringing those in. And what that does is it creates this such a unique interoperability to the point where our friends in Ukraine, not part of NATO, but one of the biggest points of pride that I have is we've actually hosted our Ukrainian friends a few times, and they've come through and they are coming back to do a focused discussion on how our NCO Corps operates. And you mentioned the power of our NCO Corps. And I think that's a really important tie is our ally nations know that we have something special. We have something special with mission command and with trusting our airmen with vision. Like our leadership will give them a task and a goal, and we know that without a lot of oversight, they can go out and execute. And you don't see that everywhere. So for us here, being able to highlight that for not just NATO, but for also our friends in Ukraine that are struggling, but are doing their best and continuing to evolve. It's been really cool to be a part of. And actually, one of the things as we talk about the innovation ecosystem, Project Mercury, our friends at the Innovatrium, they were out here and we worked a project with them, Project Radiant Shield, that actually created some neural networks where we can cross-share the best practices of what we've experienced, but more importantly, what our allies are experiencing, so that we can take the things that have been built, not reinvent the wheel, combine our energies, and actually be able to change the way we do business.
Awesome. I love it. As you're moving into PACAF now, so it's a little different environments. It's very climate.
A little bit.
What challenges do you think that you're going to face getting into that as we prepare, GPC, the threat, the potential threat and conflict that we're seeing in that region?
For sure. So if we listen to our leaders, China, right? Now we've been able to face in USAP the Russia threat, and we've been watching their activities, and I think we've done a great job of deterrence. In the world of China, deterrence is even more important because their capabilities, we can't mince words. They're a peer adversary, not near peer. They're a peer adversary, and so we have to respect that. The tyranny of distance that you see in the PACAF theater. I was a part of it for 7 years, for 7 years, and it was incredible. From my Alaska perch to being in Japan, being on the pen. Getting to go back to the pen is amazing, and especially being able to take my family. But 40 minutes away is North Korea, and just a little bit farther up the street is China. I've had the pleasure of actually visiting China in my previous stint in Korea. Not sure that'll be a thing that we get to do in this particular experience. But what I can tell you is the advancements we have got to continue to watch. We have to continue to watch how our budget cycle is empowering airmen innovation, because you can hear a lot of things. What I find is our congressional leaders are very interested in evolving operations. So as we look at anything from divestiture of aircraft to new capabilities to bringing on new weapon systems and platforms, the biggest challenge is that tyranny of distance in the Pacific theater, and how we get after agile common deployment, what that means. How we are able to maintain readiness on the pen, understand the role of getting into and out of the fight with quickness, making sure that from the 7th Air Force perspective, I'm not in the organized training and equip role anymore. I am in that fight tonight role of making sure that readiness is at the forefront. Deterrence is at the forefront. So there's a lot of space to do better in that role. Not saying anybody's not doing the right things, but hopefully bringing my talents to the pen, I'll be able to amplify the voice of the airmen on the pen, amplify the voice of our people throughout the Pacific theater on the challenges that they see, because in real time it's evolving. Doctrine is a thing, but our doctrine informs future action, but we're writing doctrine as we speak. Look at the Taiwan Strait. Look at the activities that are happening. We have to be ready. We have to be mindful. We have to be agile. We have to be willing to accept risk. And accepting risk is something our leadership is telling us is very important. And I've seen it as a commander. I've been empowered to accept risk. My group commander has accepted risk. I have no doubts that our friends in Korea have as well. And I'm going to be doing everything in my power from the 7th Air perspective to provide top cover for our leadership in the field to get after the things that need to be gotten after in real time and not waiting for bureaucracy to catch up.
And you'll definitely keep in touch with us so that we can help you cut through that red tape.
Y'all have an open invite, ready to rock and roll. We're going to be bringing, we already have Project Mercury on the books to come out to Osan in July, which is great. But it's, the more help we have, the more voices we have, the more advocacy we have. Because again, it's not about our silo. It's not about maintenance. It's not about the F-16. It's not about Korea even. It's about our enterprise and our A4 community being heard when it comes to sitting at the table for the National Defense Authorization Act to get the money that we need, that our airmen deserve, right, to get after the big projects that will change our aviation support equipment. Again, if you listen to our top leaders, aviation support equipment, it's old. We need more. We're going to continue to elevate our needs, right? We need to communicate in capabilities, and you better believe that I'm going to do everything that we can with the team to communicate those capability needs into requirements so that we can get the funding we need to get the future that our airmen deserve.
To put a focus on those things that are going to make me go.
Absolutely.
Right. That's awesome. So do you have, as we close out, do you have any advice or last remarks or something to tell those airmen in the field that feel like they're not being heard?
I got to say, first, the opportunity to do this. So thank you, Tesseract, for coming out here to Spangdahlem. Thank you for allowing me the chance to have a fireside chat with you. This means the world to me, to our airmen out there in the land of logistics. Anybody that's listening, if you do not feel empowered, I need you to realize that the frozen middle, to me, are people who are empowered that choose not to use that empowerment. So use your empowerment. Voice the things that you think are important. Understand that if you come with a plan, it's so much easier than coming with a problem. There are no shortages of challenges out there in our Air Force, but an airman with a solid plan, with a clear requirement, it's really easy to fund. It's really easy to find the resources. And when I talk about resources, money is a big piece of it, but people, time, energy, people's energy is a thing we don't talk about enough. Your energy matters. And we need to combine our energies, because if we're in a room of 1,000 people and we're just solo, it's one voice in a room of 1,000, you're never going to be heard. But if we connect together, if we use our resources, what you find is you're going to be a room of 1,000 with 100 unique voices, or 100 combined voices, and we're going to hear you. Leaders are wanting to hear you. They need the challenges so that they can provide the resources. And if you don't feel heard, if you don't feel valued, reach out to me. I'd love to tell you exactly how important you are to what we're doing, because I'm quickly becoming irrelevant. I am very much not an innovator anymore. I am very much an empowerer of innovation, and I need those innovators out there with the energy and the opportunity to change the world, and know that we're here for it. We're ready for you. And this is an exciting time. We're writing history as we speak. You are living in historic times that are unprecedented, from, what we see in Russia, what we see in the potential of China, what we see in the Middle East, what we see in Israel, what we see in Africa. There's opportunity to make this world what you need it to be. And the world is filled with dreamers, and we need those dreams. And I tell my team, I'm not in the business of dreaming, but once I know your dream, we're going to make your dreams reality. And I hope that you find that within your leadership teams.
I love it. And that's definitely going to make an airman get out there and get after it. So I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and talk about all the amazing things that you do, and you do need to take some credit for, because you do inspire a lot. A lot of airmen that get out there and get after it because you believe in them. Please don't ever stop doing that.
Never. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any references to trademarked, copyrighted, or protected products or services, such as books, movies, or businesses, are used here for the limited purpose of education and professional development of Air Force airmen. If you have any questions, please contact us at www.tesseract.af.mil.